I'm no techie. I know that's a shocker. Part of my problem is I don't want to bother anybody with my lack of computer competence. Actually, that's probably more of a pride thing than anything else. When I finally muster the courage to call IT, their first recommendation is, "Have you rebooted your computer lately?" See, my philosophy is reboot at least a couple of times a year, whether you need to or not. And that's why the support person on the other line will sometimes say, "Hugh, we have located the problem with your computer and it is somewhere between the mouse and the chair you are sitting in." Anne Lamott is a Christian writer. I don't agree with everything she says, but I love this quote from her. "Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you." Imagine you're on a long road trip. You're making great time mile after mile when you glance at the fuel gauge and realize you're nearly empty. You have two choices: stop to refuel or keep driving until the engine sputters to a halt. Too many of us choose the latter. We press forward nonstop, meeting needs, tackling problems, keeping everything moving. But no matter how committed we are, without pausing to refuel, even the strongest among us eventually stall. History, psychology, and scripture affirm that effectiveness isn't just about effort. It's also about knowing when to step back so we can step forward, renewed and strengthened. Jesus knew this well. Even though his mission carried the highest stakes imaginable, he did not work without rest. Throughout the Gospels, we see a rhythm. He would teach, heal, minister to crowds, but then he would withdraw to pray and be alone with the Father. He knew that to keep pouring himself out for others, he needed to keep being poured into by his life source. So if Jesus himself saw the need to step away to refresh and refuel, how much more should we? Yet so many of us buy into the lie that we can't afford to stop and reboot. The truth is, we can't afford not to. Personal rebooting doesn't make us less effective, it makes us more so. So what does rebooting look like? Consider these three areas. Personal growth. Those who stop learning stop leading. And students of life have the best shot at remaining sharp and adaptable. How about investment in others? The healthiest leaders don't just push forward alone. They equip and encourage those around them. And finally, there's spiritual and emotional renewal. Time alone with God every day isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Because true influence isn't about how far we can go before we collapse. It's about making sure we have enough fuel to eventually finish well. So before your next big decision, your next demanding season, ask yourself, do I need to reboot? Or am I going to keep pretending the problem isn't between the mouse and the chair?